When I was a little girl, I had this dream that seemed so impossible. I was going to be the fastest runner in the world. I got this little nugget of an idea from my dad. He used to watch me run and say, "Ain't no woman alive that can beat you." And I believed him. He made me feel invincible. It wasn't easy. I trained hard, harder than anyone else I know. But I was made for this. I was an unstoppable force, a life dedicated to perfection. But even perfection wouldn't be enough.
Revolution, you need to study the part of revolutions where they.
Good evening, everybody. My name is welcome to In Conversation to Dr. Naomi Wolf, Dr. Drew, and whatever. I'm the principal and co-production girl. Thank you very much for coming out to join us tonight. Those of you who know me pretty well know me pretty well. Not know I'm not someone who I'm brutally honest, over diplomatic, and often to my detriment. So when I say that tonight we are going to come two women who are perhaps our heroes, you can take that to the bank. I promise you won't be debanked. I truly mean it. Trish Wood is a prominent Canadian investigative journalist who has a distinguished career, including a decade as a host and reporter at the state. Widely respected for her in-depth science reporting and coverage for Fauci during the AIDS crisis, Wood has won multiple awards, including from the Canadian Association of Journalists, the Association of Canadian Science Writers, the Radio and Television Directors Association, and the National Magazine Award. She was the first Canadian journalist to publicly support focused protection during the early days of COVID-19, giving a voice to doctors advocating for a different approach. Currently, she is in production on a documentary about Canada's Freedom Convoy. Yeah. And you're going to get a sneak peek of a trailer that has been put together about that. Trish believes, as I'm sure many of us in this room, that the moment police used force against non-resisting protesters, that marked a critical moment of division in Canada. Trish's podcast, Trish Wood is Critical, offers thoughtful interviews with credible COVID-19 policy dissidents and critiques the media's role in shaping public perception. She highlights the failures of vaccines and lockdowns while advocating for a return to independent, critical thinking in today's complex media landscape. Over the years, Trish has also covered global issues, including Israel and Palestine, wrongful convictions,
and the Iraq War, earning praise for her reporting. She combines the values of traditional journalism with modern digital delivery to push for honest, unbiased reporting. And I know many of you love her taglines. Trish Wood is staying critical and choosing truth over tribe. Dr. Naomi Wolf. Dr. Naomi Wolf is one of the world's most influential feminists. A graduate of Yale and Oxford universities, she is a best-selling author, columnist, professor, and CEO at DailyClout.io. Dr. Wolf had me at The Beauty Myth, a masterpiece created by turning her PhD thesis into a book, which the New York Times has dubbed one of the most important books of the 20th century. Not one to rest on her laurels, Dr. Wolf went on to write 7 more bestsellers, including Give Me Liberty, a handbook for American revolutionaries. In it, Dr. Wolf predicts the current authoritarian crisis and offers strategies to promote civic engagement and a better way forward. 3 years ago, Dr. Wolf began leading a crowdsourced project which saw 3,500 medical and scientific professionals read through 55,000 pages per month of Pfizer documents. And as you all know, that was ordered by a judge to be released to the public. They wanted to lock those away for 75 years. The 68 reports filed by these 3,500 professionals document what is being called the greatest crime against humanity in recorded history. Dr. Wolf co-edited the Pfizer papers, Pfizer's Crimes Against Humanity, a compilation of these reports, and the book has sold out 3 printings, and it's been used by courts, members of the EU Parliament, state and federal US senators, just to name a few. As previously mentioned, she is the co-founder as well as CEO of the DailyClout, whose mission is to empower all people with information. And I have to read her tagline from her agent's website. I just love this one. Naomi Wolf is packing, preaching, and praying. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming Trish Wood and Dr. Naomi Wolf.
Hi, everybody. Trish Wood here. Yay! I'm not going to be emotional, but I'm so moved to be here with Naomi. She was one of the very first people I interviewed when we all began to realize the world had gone mad and that COVID tyranny was really rolling. And there was maybe 5 of us, Alex Berenson, Naomi, me, a woman named AJK, a couple of others, but there weren't too many. There weren't too many. And I knew Naomi from her previous work, and I thought, what is she figuring this stuff out now for? This is a conservative deal mostly on this, it was weird. And then she appeared on Tucker Carlson, and that was absolutely life-changing for me. And it speaks really to the truth over tribe moment that I'm really hammering away right now. And that Tucker obviously was at Fox News. He had a big show. He was one of the first people to figure out that there was something not great going on. And I knew Naomi as a liberal who would never, and a feminist who should never appear on Fox News. What? And my husband will attest that when he announced that she was coming on, I was actually cheering, because I knew if we could meld these things together, these two tribes, that we would have a chance, that there will be no victory over tyranny if we're all just sticking to our own group and not trusting the other. So that was a really, really important moment for me with Naomi, and I admired her. And I admire Tucker very much for doing it too, because I'm sure they weren't happy with him down at Fox News either. And we're going to talk about COVID and the vaccines and everything, but she's American. And she's coming from the land of MAGA that many of us liked and wanted, right? MAGA, MAHA, all that good stuff. And so I think the best thing to do, the best way to start, is to talk about that, because I think everybody's probably dying to know. There's so much that he's undone every bad thing that ever happened in the world in the last 5 days, right? It's amazing. So let's talk about that. I guess I'll just ask you generally why you supported Donald Trump in this election.
Sure. Can I just ask, we're getting a little bit of an echo and a lot of audio from this direction. I wonder if our wonderful sound guys can address that. Thank you so much. Yes, so can I just gush a little bit before I answer that question?
Sure.
It's so meaningful to me to be in Canada. There's a real echo from over there. There's like a male voice projecting, which is a little distracting, but I know they will fix it.
Stop talking.
Yeah. It's so moving and exciting for me to be in Canada and with you, and this is for several reasons, but I just want to thank you all so much for venturing out in this cold January night to talk about liberty in Canada with me and Ms. Wood. And I guess I just want to say I've always loved Canada. And there's so many things I've loved Canada for over the years. I've been here many times, starting from when I was a baby feminist with the beauty myth. And what I've always loved is I've always felt that Canada was sort of what America would be if America were sane. Right?
Yeah. That's what we thought too.
That's what you
right?
thought too. Exactly, yeah. Exactly. And I also was always, for reasons that are really emerging in my writing of the last few years, always impressed that Canada was such a civil, rational country in which people had, pleasant discourse, shared differences of opinion with civility, and also that it had such a robust, the years I came, strong middle class, great educational system, and sense of place and sense of nation and pride in nation. It was like the dream nation state to me. And so watching it over the last few years, since 2020, has been heart-wrenching. Canada and Australia. And my theory, which I've written about in my 2 books about the last 4 or 5 years, Facing the Beast and The Bodies of Others, are that the globalists used Canada and Australia as kind of petri dishes to test. I'm sure it's not a new idea here in Canada, to test out all the most horrible things they planned to do to all robust Western democracies. And so it was chilling for me to watch one thing after another happen in Canada. And also in a horrible way, it was instructive for the fight that I waged, with my colleagues in the US, because seeing what happened to you told us what to mobilize against before they could do it to us. It's horrible, but that's the truth of this historical moment. And so I'm moved and excited to be here because the fact that you're here and the fact that you exist and you were the first smart woman, you know, I talked to in another country even, who what I saw, and that made me feel validated. And I'll never forget that hotel room that day. It deeply impressed me when I spoke to you the first time. It makes me feel like there's a lifeblood of liberty for Canada. And just like we prevailed down south, I believe that you will and can prevail because you're here and we're here. And, you know, as I put in one of my essays, we're not dead yet, right? They didn't get us. They didn't destroy us. They didn't destroy this assembly conversation much as they would have wanted to. And from this, everything, you know, from assemblies and conversations, everything can follow. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you, Canada, for welcoming me back. Thank you. Now to your question. It is shocking to me that I endorsed Donald Trump, less shocking as the days go by. But I'm, you know, for those of you who are not that familiar with sort of my past, I've been a lifelong liberal, classical liberal, and I was a political consultant to Clinton's second election campaign and to Vice President Al Gore's presidential run. And I was married to a White House speechwriter in the Clinton years. So very, very Dem. And I thought I would be Dem forever, but you know, in 2020, my tribe, you know, your wonderful motto, truth over tribe, my tribe began to veer away from every truth, every decency, every tenet of what we used to believe. And it got replaced by some strange neo-Marxist cult, you know, that I literally don't recognize. And also, I got canceled. Like, I promise I'll get to how and why I endorsed Donald Trump, but there's a little backstory. I posted in June of 2021 on then Twitter, an accurate post, simply reporting that women were reporting eyewitnesses to their own bodies, which feminists are supposed to believe is source of truth number one, right? When in doubt, listen to women, you know, and women know what's happening with their bodies. They can tell the truth about their bodies. Well, women were reporting very serious menstrual dysregulation and symptoms upon receiving the mRNA injection. Well, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm an English major. My doctorate is in Victorian poetry, but I took 8th grade biology. And even I knew that if women were reporting multiple independent reports, which journalists like you're one of 6 left, you know, we used to know when there's independent reports of the same thing from multiple unrelated locations and sources, that's a story. And I did the same kind of reporting I've done my whole career, which made me like a global feminist icon, taking women seriously about their bodies. Well, this led to me being immediately deplatformed and globally smeared. Deplatformed from every platform I was on. And several years later, a lawsuit by 2 attorneys general against the White House found that it was the White House that had deplatformed me with that tweet. Like, that's in CDC records, in email about, you know, my tweet, which is chilling. And those were the people for whom I'd voted. So fast forward, no one in legacy media would speak to me after that. Like, no one. My career was over. You know, an investor withdrew a 6-figure investment from my company. I was called crazy all over the world all at once, which I didn't even understand because I didn't know about AI then, which clearly existed. And that was it for my career. I was in a vortex of silence. The only person who would talk to me was Steve Bannon. And he reached out to me, and of course I'd been, you know, conditioned to believe that he was the devil. But I'll talk to anyone about women's health. I'll talk to anyone about the Constitution. You know, I've never had that crazy tribal thing of, I can't talk to you if you disagree with me. I think it's exciting to talk to people with whom I disagree because I learned something. But he was giving me a platform to share my concerns. So that led to a really interesting couple of years in which no one on the left would speak to me. I was unpersoned, but I spoke to dozens and dozens and dozens of conservatives and libertarians and a lot of people of faith, a lot of ministers who, you know, wanted to know what was happening to women and babies. The left didn't care, apparently. So all of that led to me reassessing, you know, where freedom and decency lay. And I'm not saying it's partisan, because the solutions are not partisan. But I did witness that half the country wanted to think critically about what was happening to the human race, and half were gone. And I didn't just experience it abstractly, professionally, but with my loved ones and my friends. And, you know, the fact that I couldn't enter a restaurant in New York City to eat with my family because I was unvaccinated. You know, Jim Crow laws, we thought we did away with them with the Civil Rights Act of 1964. There they were back. And all my right-on friends who would never discriminate against, you know, a gay marriage or a person of color were happy to embrace a two-tier discrimination society, which was literally like, you know, Nazi Germany in the early 30s, you know. So, and I say that as a granddaughter of someone who lost 8 siblings in the Holocaust. I don't say that lightly. All of that being said, I realized what led to it. Well, I have a colleague who dragged me to a Trump talk at Bedminster, one of his properties. And it was hosted by Orthodox Jews, and I'm Jewish. And I was expecting to really hate him, but he made so much sense. And
he's kind of charming too,
he's
right?
kind of charming, but not always. But the thing he was clear about is that he wants to end war, and that he didn't have a new war, and he brought our soldiers home from conflicts, and that he created the Abraham Accords, or facilitated them, for peace in the Middle East. And like, that's what liberals are supposed to like.
Hey everyone, sorry about that. So, yeah, you can catch the rest of the virtual event up in Canada. I am not in Canada right now, but I asked if I could stream the beginning of the event. I was going to stream the entire thing, but then I realized it's not our event, and you know, they need to cover their costs. So I do have the URL there. You could also go to my Twitter account, where I have the clickable link here. Let me just share that with you, and check it all out there. So that is Naomi Wolf and Trish Wood speaking up there in Canada, in Toronto, at a big Liberty event. I wish I could have been there, but you know, can't be everywhere at once. So let me just put this up for you. There we go. Okay. So I'm not going to talk too long. So if you want to get to the event, you can. But in the meantime, I will be streaming this weekend, probably tomorrow, about some of the other things. A lot of stuff going on. It was a great night last night for Trump, and for everyone who supports him. Actually, a great week. It was amazing. As Brandon Weicker said, masterclass all the way. Okay, so let me just get this up for you. And if you didn't see my message, I do apologize. It's certainly not a bait and switch. It just didn't seem very ethical of me to stream the whole thing for free when it's not my event. And the only reason I have a link is because my wife volunteered to speak up there. So let me get this up for you. Sorry. And you could see the event right there. It's also in the chat. Hopefully it came through on wherever you're watching this. Okay. And if you hear some weird sounds, that is my son in the background. He's in a very good mood, so he tends to sing songs I've never even heard of. Okay, here we go. Okay, so if you go over to my Twitter or Naomi's, you'll see right here. You just click on it. When you do click on it, just make sure you unselect, like it seems to auto-populate tickets in there. You just want to go down to the virtual part here. And yeah, so you go over here, Trinity Productions, and you can go down here, click on tickets, and there you go. So yeah, so scroll past all this, and you can click on your tickets here. Okay, and so you're gonna add that to the cart, but again, it seems like it's auto-populated, probably just a glitch. So when you get into your cart, just make sure you don't. I had sticker shock, but then I realized what was going on. So you go there, and that'll take you here, and just make sure the thing is right, and there's your virtual ticket, and then you're good to go. And that will also let you have that stream for like I think, what do they say, like two weeks or something like that. So we will get it up after that ticket time runs out. But if you want to go join them there, please do. And again, that is Trinity Productions. We really appreciate them. I met Trinity Productions when we had MEP Christina Anderson, who we love, was a guest at our house and spoke at our house last year. And that's when I met the people at Trinity Productions. They're wonderful. And this price here really just covers their costs. It's a very expensive event for them to put up, but I'm glad they were able to. So go enjoy the event. And if you're a regular viewer of mine, certainly check out this week. We have a lot to cover. Lots going to come out with these fires. I don't know if you saw the Trump meeting last night with Karen Bass. That was epic. And I forgot the congressman's name, that guy's name that he shot down. A lot going on there. It's still a tragic thing. I am going to try to get my friend Aura's husband, Jeff, on the phone. Aura was my guest last week. They're in the Pacific Palisades. They stuck it out and, just protected their home, and their home is good, but and their tortoise Manny is good, but he's a hardcore dude. He made it happen. He's a really good guy. So I'm gonna try to get him on. His name is Jeff Nadrick, and he lives out there in Pacific Palisades. Super hardworking personal injury lawyer. And I'm guessing Jeff probably is going to get his army of lawyers together and sue the hell out of LA. That's just a guess. He hasn't said anything, so nor can he. But I do want to get his opinion on what Karen Bass said versus what is reality. Because he was at all those meetings. I believe he was at the meeting with Trump. Trump walked through his neighborhood. And what she said last night, if you're not aware of it, it's a lot different than what the reality is. She was basically saying, oh, they can go back to their homes and start work now. And Trump's like, well, that's not true, because I talked to the homeowners. They said that's not true. They said they got to wait a week. And he's like, a week's too long. Okay, so I think she got caught lying. I think Trump knows it. I want to hear exactly what's going on for the homeowners. So I'm going to try to get Jeff on here to talk exactly about that. What is reality and what's Karen Bass. So more to follow on that. And then lots going on. Lots going on. So I'll put out an announcement, and we will announce when this event is available for the general public. But in the meantime, don't wait for that. I would go and check it out. It's going to be a great event. And it always is. So, all right, guys, thanks. And thanks for your patience. Sorry if I confused anyone there. And actually I was going to stream the whole thing, but like I said earlier, as I'm putting it together, I noticed I had ticket sales. So I called Karen over there and I said, I don't think I should stream the whole thing. You guys won't be able to pay for your event if I do. And she's like, oh, I think she was open to letting me, but I just, I don't think that would have been right for me to do. So I'm sure you understand. So check it out. Good people. And, you're supporting people that put on great events and really host a lot. So Lee Moore Daskell, Lee Moore Daskell says, the link hasn't come through yet. Keep refreshing your email. If it doesn't come through, I will reach out to the event organizer and let them know people are having some issues with it. Trump rethinking rejoining the WHO. I've heard these rumors. I just have to look at that. I know what you're talking about. There was a Substack, I think, by James Rakowski. I always say I doubt it, but I don't know because I haven't really looked into it. I will say it's too early to really say what Trump's doing because he hasn't really made anything that clear. He did sign something pulling us out of it, an executive order. I'd have to read through it, but there's like 196 executive orders. So James is really good about going line by line. I haven't read his piece yet, so if he's written a piece about it, so I'll look into that. Sorry, human being. Yeah, I got you on the screen. Human being, I am so upset. Well, I'll be upset too, definitely. but I would really, really recommend reading The Art of the Deal, and really even going back to the first administration, and look at the way Trump does business. Everything he does is not because he's pressured. Everything he does has a move. I'm not shilling for him or anything like that. He is my president. He is your president. But I do know these people tried to kill him. And I think the WHO, we can lump in with that. And he knows it. And he is the lion of winter, studying and studying and studying all these moves he's making. He didn't just come up with them on a whim. It was everything seems to be a very clearly thought out strategy. He's much more of a tactician politically this time. He's always been a great business tactician, but this time, and strategist, but this time you can't do this much, this quickly, this efficiently, and this incredibly without having had planned this for a long time. So I would say this human being, I always say investigate everything. Okay. Read it, read the order. I'm going to read it too. And as you know, like, even if someone's a really great Substacker or something, they're not a source. At best, they're a tertiary source, or just reporting the news. I always say everyone's as good as their last project. So if you read something and it's not sourced, move past it. Okay, I'm not saying that's James's thing. I haven't read it. He's a very good researcher, but I will say you can read these things yourself. They're not too hard to figure out. The way I figured out how, because I have no political background, when I started reading through every one of Biden's executive orders, I would just look up every single term I didn't know. And it is a maze. You have to follow all the, laws and regulations that they state. But if you put in the work, you will find it. You'll find what you're looking for. So I would just say, collect the facts, and then, let the facts lead you to a theory or the truth. So that's that. Hope that helps. I like what he said about Fauci and the security detail. I didn't see what he said. I will say this. That little elf, what DeSantis called Fauci, that little elf, or little annoying elf, or little evil elf, whatever the hell he is, Fauci. I actually saw him at a Princeton graduation. He was speaking. Okay, so a member of our family was graduating from Princeton, and we went there. And they had like vaccine requirements and everything. And, we're like, we're not going to do that. And then the family member said, well, can you at least take a test? And I was against it, but I'm like, fine, I'll do it. So what Naomi and I did is, in the parking lot of Walgreens, we bought 2 tests, and I took some bottled water, and I recorded this, and I dumped it on the tests, and one came out negative and one came out positive from the same bottle of water. So then I took a 3rd test, dumped it on there, and then that one came out negative. So I wasn't lying. I said we took the test. So we walked right in, and guess what? No one was checking anyways. But we go in there, and Fauci was the keynote speaker. And all this dude did was complain that everyone's picking on him. But his security detail was huge. What a waste of taxpayer money. I've got it on video. I will dig that up, and I will play that for you if you guys are interested in seeing that. The guy's a jerk through and through. Yeah, total fake test human being. Yeah, we literally like dumped distilled water on them, and they just came out different every time. It's so stupid. But Fauci, his security detail was at least like 6 people. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, I don't even think like HHS's security detail's that big. In fact, I know it's not, because it was my guys that served Xavier Becerra, who served. It was our team that served Xavier Becerra, the former director of the CDC, and then Rochelle Walensky as well, the former one before her. And Fauci had the biggest security detail. It was insane to go to Princeton. But the good part is, you're going to like this one. I think you'll like this one a lot. The girl that was speaking before him was making fun of him, like through and through. Like, all of the speakers were making fun of him, and he either didn't catch on or just blew it off. But it was hilarious. These kids were not happy. These kids did not drink the Kool-Aid. They were sent home from Princeton. And, a lot of kids there, there's some well-to-do kids there, don't get me wrong, but, it's not an easy school to get into. And there's a lot of kids there on scholarship. So it was very sad. We hosted a friend as well. So, but yeah, that is hilarious. I'm glad you brought up Fauci because I've been sitting on that footage. I literally had a tripod and my camcorder going and a microphone going because I did not want to wait for the edited version. So it's pretty good. It's all raw. It'll be good. All right. Let me see. Janelle Hopper at the Duke Report. Okay, we'll put that out. Is that Janelle? Is that your? Is that your What is that, Janelle? Is that your ex? If you want to tell me, I don't mind promoting it. Just let me know what it is. I'm now in South Carolina. I fled Hochul and all of the BS. Well, you can't really flee. You can't really flee human being in this country because the BS tends to show up wherever you are, red state or blue state. That's why we chose to stay. I have a place in Massachusetts. We have a place in Hudson Valley, New York, and then she has a place in Brooklyn. We're holding the beachhead. There's no way I'm gonna flee my home. And you got to make the right decision for you. Definitely not judging, but I'm saying, and I love South Carolina. There's no way I'm gonna give New York over to these idiots because New York is a beautiful, mostly red state county-wise. It's just that you have the density of New York and the cheating that turns a vote. But like you go around where we live, I go shooting next door all the time. I go right outside my back door with my AR-15 shooting at my neighbors every day. That's the real New York in my opinion. I think they should take LA and Manhattan and just cut them out of those states. Okay, make them separate states, let them deal with their own self. And then it'd be funny because then LA would have to buy water from California proper. I would love that. Okay, so my neighbors became insane. Oh yeah, no, neighbors definitely became insane. Okay, wait, Janelle. Okay, Janelle, thank you for that. Yeah, anytime I'm doing a live stream, I don't mind if you post stuff up there like that. Just let people know what it is, just so we have some context, because I don't want people to click on it and all of a sudden it's like, something crazy or something. I appreciate that. Thank you. So yeah, I will check that out too. Peter Duke, I follow his insightful reporting. Janelle, what kind of reporting is it? What's he reporting on? Just out of curiosity. I'll get back to you in a second. My neighbors went insane. Not my neighbor. Well, it's interesting. So up there in Hudson Valley, New York, there's two people. I know I said I'd get off this thing and I have to because my son's going to kill me, but let me talk to you guys. You took the time to come out here, so just give you some updates. What I found in the Hudson Valley is, and it's just like where I grew up in Maine, there are two types of people. There are people that live there year round, like we started to since the pandemic. We were in the West Village and we got the hell out of there. Thank God Naomi had the insight to buy this kind of old ramshackle country house up there that it's still a little ramshackle, but we like it. It's like a Shrek cave. But she bought that right after 9/11 because the air was so polluted. Her son has asthma, and she decided when she saw those kind of lockdowns after 9/11, she better have an escape hatch, and that was the escape hatch, and it became our kind of permanent home. So you have the all year round people, then you have the summer homers, okay? Or as the locals call them, the leaf peepers. The people that come up to look at the leaves turn. They come up, a couple weekends a year. It's like their summer home. And this is near the Catskills, same thing there. And we had that in Maine growing up as well, the summer homers. Well, the summer homers, they come out of Poughkeepsie, Albany, Manhattan, and they want to tell everyone else how to live. Okay, they want to change. And this is important. If you live in one of these towns, you have got to own those town boards because those summer homers will come in and take over them. And we've seen that happen. And we're fighting that on one thing right now. They will just swarm those town halls. And next thing you know, the locals like us are dealing with all sorts of stuff. So, it's a lot of work, but you got to get in there and take charge and take over, or at least show up for like public comment and vote everything down that they do, because they will come wreck stuff and then go back to the city. So annoying. So that's New York where I live. If you guys have a similar story, by all means, yeah, I know, right? Leaf peepers. Some guy called me a leaf peeper, right? Because my Ford Explorer got a flat tire, and I had to drive Naomi's Prius, which is now in the Prius graveyard. And so if you remember the beginning of the pandemic, like there were some class battles going on between the summer homers and the locals. This was happening down in Long Island, and I get out at a sewer shop, which is like a 7-Eleven up there, and the one I always go to, and I get out, and there's some, there's some of the local boys that are kind of giving me giving the old stink eye, and I'm like, oh, crap. And so I reach in and I put on I put on my Donald Trump hat, so I get the nod, like, okay, because these guys are looking at me like I was dead. And then I bought as many American flag like bumper stickers and MAGA stickers as I could find, and I slapped them all over her Prius. Um, just because I had to differentiate myself from being a leaf peeper, and I was not going to do that in that Prius unless I dolled that thing up the proper way. And it was better looking for it. It was a nice look. I like that. All right, so thank you, Janelle. Peter Duke is a longtime Palisades resident, and he and George Webb are covering the fire and AI, not doing TRM justice. Great guest for you and Naomi. Yeah, look, I gotta admit it. I don't know Peter Duke. I do know George Webb kind of took some of my work one time on the Jordan Tristan Walker thing, and he put it up as his own. I called him out on it. So I'll have to get back to you on that one. Look, I don't mind if anyone uses my work. That's why I put it out in public, but do the right thing. And then he got into a shouting match with Project Veritas over that. It was so, again, I don't really have an opinion of George Webb, but that is my first introduction to him. Not to embarrass you or anything. I'm sure he does good reporting. I don't really follow his work, but I will definitely check out Peter Duke. And I'll see what George Webb is doing too. Like I don't hold grudges. So, we're all on the same team, I believe. But yeah, I'll check it out. So, but as far as great guests go, well, let's get back to you about that. I can't speak for Naomi because she has her own show. She actually technically owns this platform that I'm talking on. So she has. I can't even, like, people will reach out to me all the time and say, "Hey, can Naomi speak at this?" She has an agent, like she has her own thing going, where this isn't, for us, like she has her thing, I have my thing. So when it comes to this stuff, I could get her on my show, but I certainly can't influence her one way or another. But I will pass the message along, Janelle. So I really do appreciate it. So thank you. Human Beast says, geez, I was at rallies speaking on microphones like Naomi. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of like speaking on this microphone. I used to speak for Students for Liberty, a big libertarian organization before the pandemic. And I went all over Russia and Czech Republic and you name it, like Macedonia, Montenegro. I loved it. But, maybe I'm getting old, but like travel isn't what it used to be. So I used to like Europe a lot more. I still love Eastern Europe, though. Eastern Europe, in my opinion, is way better than Western Europe these days. But we'll see. We're heading out to Lithuania in about 2 weeks. Then we're going over to Oxford. So be interesting to get back to England for the first time in a long time. So, and Lithuania, that'll be interesting too. But I've always had great experiences in Eastern Europe, Georgia, you name it, Russia. I don't care what anyone says. I really enjoy these countries. They're really great. And my favorite place to travel in Europe is Belgrade. I think that is the best city to go to right now in that continent because it's awesome, which is weird because I was in the military during the Serbian, Sarajevan type conflict. And, it was pretty wild times, but in the 90s, so it was weird going to Belgrade for the first time. And I actually got to shoot an AK-47 and the guy teaching the students, I tagged along with them, but I took it and I shot it, and there's a way you put in the magazine in an AK-47 that if you don't shoot it, you wouldn't know. And I shoot exceptionally well. I shoot all the time. And the guy looks at me and goes, "You've shot this before." I'm like, "You could say that." So that was I have that on video too. That's a good one. But we had a great time. Took the guy out for a beer. Love that place. If you ever get a chance, go to Belgrade. It's awesome. Okay, so, I think Peter Duke knows Bannon. He was fashion photographer. Duke understands propaganda. George Webb knows IT and is on the story. Yeah, we know Bannon really well too. So I'm it's likely that Naomi knows Peter Duke. I would be surprised if they don't, because as you know, Naomi's was on Bannon like every week. We know Bannon well. So yeah. Well, and Janelle, I'm gonna even look at George Webb's latest stuff. And yeah, I've never seen or heard of Peter Duke, so I'll definitely check out his stuff. So yeah, like I said, if it's good stuff, it's good stuff. I'm very transactional that way. If they've got good intel, I am more than willing to look at it, use it. I'm not trying to make a career out of this. I just do this because I like you guys. So, and I want to share what I know and what I have learned, what I've been trained to do, and what I discover. So, I don't have an ego when it comes to this stuff. And George Webb has never done anything personally to me. He did say, "Oh, I did tag," and you could see his name right there. So it could have been an honest mistake. Like I said, I don't hold grudges, so it's cool. I'll definitely check it out. Janelle Hopper says, quiet life for this singer. Yeah, man, I like the quiet life too, human being. I really do. I'm not even looking forward to traveling in a few weeks, but you got to do it. And look, I bounce between Salem, Hudson Valley, Brooklyn, like every 5 days, so I'm never really settled in. I literally live out of suitcases. I'm glad my son's patient about it, though. All right, so I am Annie Oakley now. Good for you. Put up a shooting video. That'd be cool. And tell you what, Janelle, by the way, I am definitely going to check them out. I'm sorry if I did not mean to embarrass you at all or anything like that. I appreciate you sharing. Just want you to know that, okay? So, and do come back. Investigate everything. I don't really have a schedule, but I'm going to try to get on one. It seems like the 8 o'clock hour is good, so I'm going to try to do streams every other night, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at 8 o'clock Eastern time. We have a big thing we're doing right now, and with Luigi Mangione. We have a big thing we're doing right now with the California fires. I am investigating Karen Bass's ties to Ghana, which, fun fact, you're going to love this one, is I bet you're all wondering why she was in Ghana, right? So I don't know for sure, but I do know that the second largest export from California is used goods. Now, how many of those used goods are used garments, I don't know, but that is the second largest export from California to Ghana. Now, what happened when Carolyn Bass got there? She got there on the 4th of January. Well, do you know that on the 2nd, they had this massive fire? I kid you not. Ghana fire in their used garment district. Isn't that weird? Because there's Karen Bass going to, head on over there to negotiate probably used garments. Okay, used garments. So let me share this. There it is. Ghana fires devastate garment traders. Okay, and this occurred this is dated on the 13th, but that actually happened on the 2nd, that fire, unless there was another one. That'd be weird. But think about it. Like, I'm just spitballing here. I never say anything. I don't try to prove my theories with facts. I try to let the facts lead me to the theories. So when I found this, I was just looking up everything I could about Karen Bass. And as it turned out, that's what came up. I'm putting up CNN, even though they're a crappy source, because I never want the left to say, "Oh, that's just a right-wing source." Nope, there you go. Woman walks past fire at secondhand clothing market at Kantamanto in Accra, Ghana, on the 2nd of January. What happened on the 4th? Karen Bass arrives, and apparently there was one after she left. So again, let's summarize. Second largest export from California to Ghana is used goods. What are most of the things they've been getting a surplus in since they opened up the borders? Used garments. She goes over there, right? And then what happens? There's a fire. Now think about it. If you're going to negotiate export-import prices, wouldn't it be great if there was a huge need? Like, their entire largest market of used garments just happened to burn down 2 days before Karen Bass gets there. Isn't that strange? Isn't it even strange that she was there? Anyways, there's more on that. So there's that, and there's many other things that we're looking into on that. And some of the things I'm going to share as much as I can, but if I do end up doing an investigation for this massive lawsuit that seems to be in the making, then I won't be able to report that stuff because that will be an active case. So there's that. So the fire, we've been following the Luigi Mangione story. I am going at that as if I was working for defense counsel. And the reason I'm doing that is because if you've been following the whole case with Brian Thompson, it's literally, there's so many holes in the prosecution's case. And I'm really shocked that like even right-wing pundits that I like are saying things like, well, the reason Luigi Mangione did it, or he probably did it because of this, or he's a lefty. It's like, first of all, there hasn't even been an indictment trial of this guy. Second, there's so many holes in the prosecution's case that it's like Swiss cheese. And so when I see that, having done like 7 murder cases when I was a PI down in the Commonwealth of Virginia, when I see that stuff, I'm like, yeah, something's off here. Like if you followed it, I'm just trying to pull this up here. Here we go. Okay, and this is on my Substack. It's free, but if you get a paid subscription, that certainly helps me have more time to write things. Otherwise, I have to take more clients. Let me just share this. Okay, shares. Sorry, I produce my own thing, so I don't have a producer, so bear with me. Okay. Here we go. All right, so if you go to my Substack, which is brianoshea.substack.com, what I did is I took the federal complaint and I went through it line by line. Now, that's my introduction, and I kind of rehashed the case for people that didn't know, but I kind of summarized the entire case as we knew it from what was reported from multiple sources. Okay. So I said, so yes, in my opinion, there's something wrong with this case, and my goal is to investigate everything about it and find out what that is. As I see it, with all the obvious issues and downright sloppiness in the plaintiff's case, plaintiff being Alvin Bragg, and the Department of Justice at the federal level, should this case move forward as is, and should this person be found guilty based on the state's current case against Mangione, in as much as we can currently see it, then our justice system should be the thing we as Americans should fear the most. Because, and then I go through this whole thing and I kind of summarize all the problems. You can read it yourself. I have an auto light here that just came on. But like, for instance, I do more than just compare what they look like. I'm not an imagery expert, but I do talk about the timelines. Like, how come we didn't see taxi photos of this guy until after they said it's this guy? And that was taken 10 days before it. And you're telling me that some hostel worker recognized this guy as being this guy from 10 days earlier on the night shift from just that photo and a couple other stills from that same area? I don't think so. Also, guys, pay attention. If you're interested in this case, pay attention to this. This is the 911 call that went out. Read it carefully. They're looking for a male, 5 foot 10 inches in height, cream colored jacket, black mask, and gloves. Huh? They're looking for a guy in a cream colored jacket, black mask, and gloves. Does that seem weird to anyone else? That's the original 911 call. I've heard anyone talk about that. Now, the only one wearing a cream colored coat that you might mistake it for cream color would be this one. However, this photo wasn't released to the public until December 5th, a day after the murder. So why would the 911 call say cream colored when that's clearly, no one can mistake that for cream colored? I have a security company. I do security stuff and cameras and everything. Cameras will augment the color, but it won't turn black into anything resembling cream. So why a day before, when the police claim we just found out this is the guy, it's almost like they had a script to say cream colored, like whether by, just luck of the draw or what, they decided this is their guy before they told the public. Or they had their eye on Mangione. I don't know. Why would they have their eye on Mangione? I don't know. I know his parents owned a bunch of nursing homes. I know his parents would not sell to United Healthcare. I know Brian Thompson was in that case that we all know about, made $15 million on insider trading, but Stephen Hemsley, his other fellow CEO, made $218 million, and God knows what Andrew Whitty, the CEO of the entire group, made. Okay, that's it. So I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but I do go in. That is not a cream-colored coat. So there's those things, and there's other things like if you go to the, and this is all in the, I always provide my receipts. So this is the complaint that they took at, let me see, 5 o'clock. Make sure I got my military time right. Yeah. 5 o'clock says it right there. So when he got arrested in Pennsylvania. 5 o'clock. Now he got arrested at, what was it, like 9 o'clock or something in the morning? It says it somewhere on here. But when they arrested him, didn't take his DNA, didn't fingerprint him. This is the complaint. 9:14 a.m. Now, in between this time and this time, Mangione got not only taken in, but he got sent up to the correctional center. Now, that's a common tactic that softens him up. They're going to put him in with they're going to put him in a cell with a guy and hopefully does what they call a jailhouse confession. It's a common trick. But I just want to point out to everyone, defendant will need to be fingerprinted and photographed. This is what they quickly filled out right before the arraignment, where he flipped, we kind of got mad and the rage filled. It wasn't until after that outburst that he finally got legal representation. So just, these are problems. Whether he did it or not is not the issue for me, coming from a defense standpoint. It's whether or not he gets a fair trial and a presumption of innocence. So just understand that's the angle I'm taking on this. But it is my belief that they're putting this on the wrong guy. So far, I haven't seen any evidence that they can even put this guy in New York at the time of the killing or in December at all. I don't see any evidence that they have that. They have messed up maps. They have the wrong locations. This is a good report. They say here that this is him leaving the hostel. Not quite. This is him leaving a block away from the hostel. I want to point out he's carrying a bike battery, but you cannot remove those batteries in New York. I was just down there. I double checked. These are the only photos they had, but someone identified him. I'm not buying it, and I lay it all out in here. They also say he got from where is it? 104th and Amsterdam, way uptown, to 54th and 6th in 6 minutes. Plug that into Google Maps. Plug in the Hilton Midtown and plug in the high New York hostel on 104th and or 891 Amsterdam. It's impossible. So I laid that all out. The fastest bike you can even get, pedal bike that you could get in New York, that you can ride on the street, is the e-bike class 3. This is from their DOT, which is governed at 25 miles per hour. Yeah, see here, 5:30. This is from their statement, not mine. 5:35 a.m. This is the official federal complaint. Shooter exit hostel and starts heading towards Midtown. 6 minutes later, he's in Midtown. I wish, because New York City traffic sucks. I know, I used to live there for a long time, and I still kind of live there. This everyone knows about. By the way, this report, I wrote it back in December, but the time here says 7:29. That's after the murder, and everyone's kind of brushing over that. I actually went to this garage and I asked them. I made up a story that I had a bad receipt, and then I said, well, I don't trust this. This has an extra hour. Did you guys update your cameras? They said, all our cameras are automated. Okay. All their cameras update automatically. You call them yourself, it's iPark. Okay. I actually have their app on my phone. So isn't it kind of weird that this says 7:29 and the murder happened at 6:44? Again, check it all out. It's all in my report. More to follow on this. I had to move on to the fires, and there's a lot going on. I will get back to this. The Luigi Mangione indictments are delayed, probably by the prosecution, because they don't have a good case. So, yeah, I've seen the Pelosi rumor. I'll be honest with you, human being. I don't have any evidence of Pelosi being involved. I have her being involved with bad trades with United Healthcare, but to go from that to this guy getting shot, I think we have to suspend. Again, it's the way I was trained is I used to get a stack of raw traffic. This is when I was in military intelligence. Guys, I actually have to log out because, yeah, I just got a notice that there's something that I have to go take care of. I'll be back. I will try to get back tomorrow. Human being, come on back. Janelle, you come back too, and we'll get this going. So thank you all very much. More to follow. If you guys aren't following me, or you are following me, send me a DM with any additional questions, and we will talk soon. Sorry to cut you off so quickly, but I'm late for something, so I gotta go. And again, check out all that stuff, and I will get back to you. But yeah, human being, again, let the facts lead you to theories. Don't let the theories lead you to facts, because you'll always find facts to fill theories. I have no evidence that Pelosi's are involved at all. Now on the back end, maybe, but we just don't have, if I don't have the facts to back something, I can't say that happened. What I do have the facts of are that really crappy federal complaint is fiction driven, and that's a fact. So I'll stick with that. Who plotted it, that comes later. We want to find out. What I really want to find out is who really killed this guy, because I don't think it was Luigi Mangione, and the facts have led me to that theory. So just always keep that in mind. To try not to pursue theories, in my opinion, because as a trained professional intelligence analyst by military intelligence, INSCOM, and then several agencies, I did this for 25 years, we never had theories. We just had collected intel, and then we could figure out enemy movements from that, and that's where I learned how to do what I do. And I'm going to be teaching probably once a week exactly how I do intel and exactly how I was trained to do it. But remember, collect, then sort, then read, then analyze. Go in that order. You will always, always knock it out of the park. All right, guys, I got to go. I'll talk to you soon, and I will announce on X when the next one will be. Thank you so much. Janelle, thanks. Fabulous when you describe. Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. It's all in my bio. I loved it. I loved intel. I was a big Tom Clancy fan in high school. That's why I went into the military, and it kind of led me down that road. So here I am. And I got out because I got into private intelligence, and there's a lot of good stories from that as well. So thank God I ended up with Naomi Wolf during the pandemic, because our two minds locked in the woods with the internet, we were on fire. So it was really quite something. That'll be we got to do a podcast, the two of us, about that experience. But if you read Bodies of Others, this is a good book. I would recommend everyone pick this up. She wrote this about the pandemic. This really gets into her experience on the pandemic, what we did, also facing the beast. But this one has something really interesting. This shows the world we were in before the pandemic, when she was the toast of Manhattan, and all of those globalist groups, we were at their tables. I was, we're like token. It was like a Tom Wolfe thing, but that's an interesting story, and it's all in that. So The Bodies of Others, I'd highly recommend that book. I really, really enjoyed that. But that really talks, and it's interesting to learn how those people think, because it's not what you think. But again, I got to go. I will go all night. Quite a love story. She hired me as her bodyguard. How about that? That's how we met. She was getting death threats, and she somehow found me. So there we are. But we were totally professional until the contract was over. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, guys, have a great night. I will talk to you soon, and thank you all. Welcome, by the way, Human Being and Janelle. If this is your first time, keep coming back. There's a great crowd on here. You're going to love it. And everyone gets involved in the investigation, so make sure you DM me and let me know you were here. So, and that's it. Anna Chapman, welcome to you as well. Human Being. Bye, guys. I got to go. All right, I'll talk to you soon. And we're going to start doing call-ins on this too. So have a great night. Talk to you soon.